Welcome to Hilary Emmanuel Ministries, where faith meets power, purity and prosperity, and breakthroughs are born. At Diadem, we equip you with bold prayers, life-transforming teachings, and spiritual strategies to overcome every challenge life throws your way. Join us as we dive into God's Word, experience His presence like never before, and walk in His purpose for our lives. If you're in London, we invite you to fellowship with us in person at Diadem, 4 Pegamoy Road, N18 2NG. Don't forget to subscribe now and let's grow in faith together.
Brethren, we are gathered here today to commence this annual program. We are gathered here for this program we do every year. When kings go to battle, 2 Samuel chapter 11, look at verse 1. And it came to pass, after the year was expired, that is at the end of the year, just like now the year 2020 is expiring. The year is expiring. So then, in the time of Samuel, when the year is expiring, something always happens. When the year is about to expire, people at that time, there's something they always do. He says, look at it, at the time when kings go forth to battle. So it's always a period, kings, if you are a king, you would have been looking forward to it. You will have been expecting it. You will have been anticipating it and preparing for it, that as soon as the year is about to expire, it's time to go to battle. And look at what happened to King David. David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon. So you now see that at this period is a period of war. It's a period of battle. It's a period when people go to war for different reasons. But what does it mean when kings go to battle? It means that if you are a king and you didn't go to battle, you will be vulnerable. You will be exposed. You can see the children of Ammon and the people of Rabbah, that because they sat at home, they relaxed. They didn't go out to war like every other person. So the enemies came upon them at home. So it's better you be the offensive side, on the offensive side, and be the one to go out to battle. Don't wait for them to come and meet you. Don't wait for them to come and fall upon you at home. Be the one to go out against the enemy foes. Now look at what happened. He said that they went and surrounded and destroyed the children of Ammon. Now look at it this way. If they've destroyed the children of Ammon and destroyed the people of Rabbah, what do you think is going to happen next? The community becomes their own. The village becomes their own. All the animals there become their own. All the gold and silver, their trade, their businesses, everything become their own. So the reason why they do this year by year is a time kings go out to plunder. It's a time kings go out to spoil. It's a time kings go out to gather wealth, to prepare the budget for the coming year. Because there was no any other place to get money from, to get budget from. So you just have to raise budget from somewhere. And they do it by fighting war, by destroying others to take what belongs to them. So today, brethren, we are in the same situation, but this time around, spiritually, we are also involved. The year is also expiring. There's a new year on the horizon that is coming, and we have to prepare for the new year. We have to make adequate provision for the new year, and so on. And so now is when to fight the battle for the next year. You fight, you spoil the enemies. You gather enough that will last you in the new year. So today, brethren, we are looking at what I call Jehovah, the man of war. Jehovah, the man of war. Now, what we are doing when we go to battles against our enemies, When we go and fight against our enemies, where do we learn it from? Because the Almighty God whom we serve, he himself is a man of war. He fights battles. He spoils his enemies. And if you are going into this kind of battle, brethren, the best place and the first place to start with is with Jehovah, the man of war. Because he knows the strategies, he knows the tactics, he knows the in and out of every war. He knows how to go into battle because he has never lost any battle before. And so that's where we are going to start from. We want to see him, want to invite him. Being a specialist himself in battles and war, we want to invite him to come and fight for us. We want to invite him into this battle. Because if you go into battle on your own strength and energy, you might not be able to overcome. You might not be able to get what you are looking for. We are going to rely on his experience in battle. Look at what the Bible says. Exodus chapter 15. Look at verse 3. Exodus 15, Jehovah, the man of war. He said, the Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. Do you see that, brethren? The Lord is a man of war, and he is the Lord. Now, the question I ask myself is this. Who is he fighting against? As a man of war, he has to be fighting constantly to get that title. Because in heaven, sure there's no enemy accommodated in heaven that you'll be fighting with. The angels don't fight against him. He doesn't fight against the angels. Satan is not, Satan already has, he doesn't need to even bother himself about Satan because Michael can take care of that one. Michael and his host, they were the one that threw Satan out of heaven. So who then is the Lord fighting against that they call him the man of war? Brethren, is he for himself? Because it's not for himself that is fighting this battle. It's not for himself. So, and because all our battles, the angels of God can take, like the one we saw in Revelation chapter 12, and so on, the Babylon, the grave, all those ones, the angels can those one. Who then, so besides Satan and those fallen angels, who were driven out of heaven and so on, who is God fighting against? Why does he need to make himself a man of war? Brethren, it's because of us. Because of his children, because of human beings. That's why he made himself a man of war. So all his battles, all even against human beings, he has always been there to fight for his children. Listen, the children of God in all ages, if you like, you go back to Genesis chapter 1 and 2 and start from there and read on. In all ages, they have always been in the minority. The children of God. The people that follow God, they have always been in the minority. There was no time they are always in the majority. No. So the enemies have always been more in numbers. They have always been more in numbers. And as such, the Lord needs to make himself strong for his children. The Lord needs to make himself a man of war for his children. Otherwise, the enemies could swallow his children. And so when we say he's a man of war, he's a man of war for a purpose, for his children, for his own people, to be able to fight our battles. I'm going to show you just a few, because if we begin to talk about the battles the Lord has fought, we will not live here today, because we have a lot of prayers to pray. We have a lot of battles to fight in this program. Look at Numbers 21. Numbers 21. Wherefore, it is the book of the wars of the Lord. Brethren, I've been looking for this book. The book is missing. Nobody found this book. There was a special compilation, a special book that was written, documented. You say, what is in the book? The book Wars of the Lord. All the battles the Lord fought that period, they compiled them in a book. They compiled them in a book. There is a volume written for them. And how I wish I can see that book, so that I read the contents. You'll be able to see how the Lord, a man of war. And brethren, for you to have formed a volume of a book, to have been documented and written as a book, which means there were so many battles. There were so many wars. Listen, brethren, the children of God will face innumerable battles every day. You remember David? He said his enemies are like They are like bees. He said they surround him like bees. He said there are so many, they are like the hairs of his head. He cannot even count them. That is just one man. So for you to now know all the children of God, the volume of enemies here and there everywhere. So the Lord has to be there for his children and be strong for them. That's why he's a man of war. Look at the Bible gave us some idea of some information about what is in that book, in the war of the Lord. What he did in the Red Sea. What he did in the Red Sea. Brethren, what happened in the Red Sea is the finger of God fighting battles. It got to a point the Egyptians say, let us go back. Let us go back. The God of Israel is fighting for them. It was too late. It was too late. He overthrew them and wasted all of them in the water. That is the man of war. Look at what followed. He said the red of sea, and in the brook of Arnon. I don't know much about this one. The brook of Arnon. Obviously, there must have been a heavy slaughter here. And Jehovah was involved in that battle. He said, you remember what he did in the brooks of Arnon? Verse 21. Verse 21. And Israel sent messengers unto Sihon, king of the Amorites, saying, now what happened was that Israel have been making journey. They were going to the promised land that they have waited for over 400 years. And now, getting to that place, one enemy came out and said his name is Sihon. And it's not going to allow them to go through. And it's not going to allow them to cross his boundary to get into the promised land. So they sent messenger to him and said, let us pass through thy land. We will not turn into thy field, or neither into the vineyard, nor will not drink waters of the well, but we go along by the king's highway. Just let us go through the road till we be past thy borders. Till we pass thy borders. And Sihon will not suffer Israel to pass through his border. He refused. He refused. He would not. But Sihon gathered all his people together and went out against Israel into the wilderness and came to Jahaz and fought. Can you imagine? They just beg you, say, let us go through. The next thing, you turn it to war. You gathered all your soldiers and all your people together and went out to fight. You know what the enemies don't realize is that the presence of God with his children. They thought that maybe they looked at them, they sent their intelligence, and they looked at them and said, well, they are not so many, they are just very few. And we can surround them and just slaughter all of them, and that will be the end. They will never trouble us again. They didn't see the person behind them. They didn't see the Almighty God, the man of war that is coming with them. They didn't see that one. So they now came out through in battle. Verse 23. Sihon would not suffer Israel to pass through his border, but Sihon gathered all his people together and went out and fought against Israel. Verse 24. And Israel smote him with the edge of the sword and possessed his land from Arnon unto Jabbok, even unto the children of Ammon. For the border of the children of Ammon was strong. Do you see that? You know, the enemies can fortify themselves. They can be strong. They can be powerful as they like. That's their problem. But one thing they don't realize is that there's no security any man can build against the man of war. There's nothing they can do. So they had a strong border. They had everything. But this battle was not determined by the strength of soldiers and physical army. Now look at what followed. Verse 25. And Israel took all these cities. And Israel dwelt in all the cities of Amorites, in Heshbon, and in all the villages thereof. Verse 31. Verse 31. Thus Israel the land of the Amorites. And Moses sent to spy out Jezer, and they took the village thereof and drove out the Amorites that were there. Verse 33. And they turned and went up by the way of Bashan, and Og, king of Bashan, went out against them, he and all his people, to battle at Edrei. Another king again went out to fight. We thought he didn't learn lessons. You know, enemies don't learn lessons. They don't learn. So this one too came out to fight. Verse 34. And the Lord said unto Moses, don't fear him not. You know, that's what matters, brethren. The presence of God with us. And what God tells us day by day. When he tells you don't fear, brethren, don't fear anything. He said, don't fear Moses, don't fear him. For I have delivered him into thy hand, and all his people and his land, and thou shalt do unto him as thou did unto Sihon, king of the Amorites, which dwelled at Heshbon. Verse 35. So they smote him and his sons, and all his people, until there was none left in him alive, and they possessed his land. Do you see, brethren, how the Lord fought the battle? Now, the only thing we will see here is that Israel will be going to the war. Israel will be holding sword. But the real person fighting the battle is the man of war, Jehovah. He's the real person behind this whole battle. You know, we might be stand here and be shouting and be praying, but that's our role. That's all we can do. And that's where our role stops. But the real battle is Jehovah, the man of war. that will go into different places, that will go into the places we don't even know, that will go into the secret, to the darkness, to everywhere in existence and fight for us there. And while we are crying to him, while we are praying, you see, brethren, if you see where the Lord fought battles, you will enjoy the Lord. You will love him. You will know that it's good to serve this man of war. Look at Joshua chapter 10. Joshua chapter 10. Look, now, it came to pass when Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, had heard how Joshua had taken Ai. Remember Jerusalem, they are coming to take all those things. So the king of Jerusalem heard about it. You know, brother, we have been struggling in the year to do one thing or the other, trying to establish this and do that and do that. Enemy might be resisting. Then don't worry yourself. Today our God will appear in the battle. So the king of Jerusalem heard how what happened to Ai, to her king, and how the inhabitants of Gibeon had made peace with Israel, and were among them, that they feared greatly, because Gibeon was a great city, as one of the royal cities, and because it was greater than Ai, and all the men thereof were mighty. Wherefore Adonijah, the king of Jerusalem, sent unto Joram, king of, look at it now, the king of Jerusalem was not able to fight the battle alone, so he sent unto Joram, king of Hebron, and sent to Piram, king of Jarmuth, and sent to Japhia, king of Lachish, and unto Debri, king of Eglon. So they now gathered themselves, about 4 kings together, saying, come unto me and help me. They formed alliance. Don't worry, your brethren. Let your enemies form alliance. Let them join hands together. No wonder the Bible says they shall be broken in pieces. So they joined hands together. They gathered themselves together, and they came out to fight. They got verse 7. So Joshua ascended from Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor. And the Lord said unto Joshua, fear them not. Fear them not. No, brethren, as we are going into this battle this time, the Lord is telling us the same thing. He said, don't fear anything. He said, fear not, for I have delivered them into thy hand. There shall not a man of them stand before thee. Joshua therefore came unto them suddenly, and went up from Gilgal all night. And the Lord, do you see that? Verse 10. Verse 10. Who did it? The Lord, the man of war. He said, the Lord discomfited them before Israel, and slew them with a great slaughter at Gibeon. It was the Lord that was slaughtering them. It was the Lord that was slaughtering them. He discomfited them, he scattered them, and slew them with a great slaughter at Gibeon, and chased them. Can you, how, if you see in the spirit realm, what is going on? So the Lord himself scattered them, slaughtered them, and chased them along the way that went up to Bethlehem, and smote them to Azekah and unto Makkedah. Verse 11. And it came to pass, as they fled, as they were running, as the enemies from before Israel, and were in the going down to Bethlehem, that the Lord cast down great stones from heaven upon them unto Azekah. Can you imagine? The Lord started to release stones from heaven. Throw stones. Throw stones. You stone is trying to escape. You will hit that one stone on the head. That one will die. Throw stone. He started to throw stones in a war. Look at what followed. And they died. They were more died with hailstones than they whom the children of Israel slew with the sword. So the Lord killed more people with stones than the one the children of Israel killed with the sword. Verse 14. And there was no day like that. Take note of this, brethren. Verse 14. This. There was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto the voice of a man. Do you know, brethren, as we are going to be crying to the Lord today, he will be hearkening to our voices. He's going to hear our cry. He's going to arise for us. Do you know what I discovered with warriors? They enjoy war. They love fighting. It gives them satisfaction and fulfillment. And our God is like that. He said there was no day like that again. Neither would there be any day that God hearkened unto the voice of man. For the Lord fought for Israel. Isn't it the same thing we are saying? For the Lord fought for Diadem. And Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, unto the camp to Gilgal. But these 5 kings, the 5 kings that gathered together and made alliance, they ran. They went and hid themselves in a cave. When they saw a man of war at war, they disappeared. And then verse 17, they now told Joshua, say, those 5 kings, we found them in the cave. Joshua say, roll a stone and block them so that they cannot escape. Later I will deal with them. And then later, brethren, Joshua brought them out and put his leg on their neck, prophesied upon them, and killed all of them. And that's how they took their whole land. They took their whole land. They took their land. Verse 25. Verse 25. And Joshua said, fear not, nor be dismayed. Be strong and of good courage, for thus shall the Lord do to all your enemies against whom ye fight. So, after that, Joshua slew them and destroyed them. And verse 28. And that day Joshua took Makeda, and Joshua smote it with the edge of the sword. And the king thereof, he utterly destroyed them, and all the souls that were therein, he let none remain. And he did to the king of Makeda a slaughtering spray. Just begin to wipe out the enemies. And when you wipe out like that, the city becomes your own. The territory becomes your own. You begin to possess your possession. You begin to possess the promises of God. In case I didn't remember to add it in prayers, I want you to remember this prayer point when we get into the prayers. That every name under this heaven that is not allowing you to possess the promises of God, make sure you fight against that. Make sure you fight against them. So, brethren, this is how the Lord fought. And from there, all those 5 kings, one by one, Joshua took all their land, took their cities, collected everything, destroyed them, wiped them out, and took everything from them. Took everything from them. And then they now returned, and they came back to Gilgal. 1 Samuel chapter 7. 1 Samuel chapter 7. I'm showing you Jehovah, the man of war. Look at verse 4. 1 Samuel chapter 7 verse 4. Then the children of Israel did put away Baalim and Ashtaroth. You know, God doesn't like idols. He hates idol with passion. And then the children of Israel backslid. They went into idolatry and so on. And God was not happy with them. And then later they repented. You know, God is forgiving. So he forgave them. They repented. And Samuel was there to judge them. And they served God only. They threw away Baalim and they got away with all the idol Ashtaroth. And they started to serve Jehovah God alone. And then verse 5. And Samuel said, gather all Israel to Mizpeh, and I will pray for you unto the Lord. And they gathered together to Mizpeh, and drew water, and poured it out before the Lord, and fasted on that day, and said there, we have sinned against the Lord. And Samuel judged the children of Israel in Mizpeh. So they settled, they reconciled with their God. They reconciled with their God. Verse 7. And when they were doing that, the Philistines heard that the children of Israel were gathered together to Mizpeh. The lords of the Philistines went up against Israel. Because the enemies don't want you to be strong. The enemies don't want our relationship with our God. They always want to cut us off from our God. Because they know he's our strength. They know that he's a man of war. And they know that when we are not in good terms with him, he cannot fight our battles. So the enemy want to come between us and our God. So that's what they did here. The moment they heard that Israel was reconciling with their God, they were not happy. So they came. The Philistines against Israel. And when the children of Israel heard it, they were afraid of the Philistines. Verse 8. And the children of Israel said to Samuel, cease not to cry unto the Lord our God for us, that he will save us out of the hand of the Philistines. Because why did they need to do this? Because they know that on their own they cannot fight this battle. They knew that on their own they don't have the might, they don't have the power, they don't have what it takes to go and fight this battle. So they now were begging the man of war to fight it for them. Brethren, many of us all are facing are battles own we cannot fight. Battles that we don't have the right weapon, we don't have the know-how. How do you fight against enemies you don't know? How do you fight against problems you don't know where they came from? And you don't even know the secrets surrounding them. So Israel understood this. And they told Samuel, he said, please, do not stop. Continue to cry. Continue to beg God to fight for us. That he will save us out of the hand of Philistines. Verse 9. And Samuel took a suckling lamb and offered it for a burnt offering wholly unto the Lord. And Samuel cried unto the Lord for Israel. And the Lord heard him. The Lord is going to hear us today. In this program, the Lord is going to hear us. The Bible said the Lord heard him. Why will he not hear? He loves his children. He's fond of his own people. Why will he not hear? Even if they backslide and they go astray, all he wants from them is to come back. All he wants from them is to come back immediately. That's all. To reconcile. So you can see, brethren, that the Lord, he will hear our prayers. He will hear our cry. So as soon as Samuel lifted up his voice, the Lord had him vested. And as Samuel was offering up the burnt offering, the Philistines drew near. You see, the enemy will still continue to be enemy. What they don't know is that the Lord has heard the cry of Samuel. What the enemies don't know is that Samuel has cried, Samuel has sacrificed, and God has accepted it. You know, they don't know our relationship with our God. They don't know what is going on between us and our God. So they were drawing nearer. They were coming to fight. They thought it's like before. They thought it was like when Israel backslid. So they drew nearer. to battle against Israel. No, look at how God responded, the man of war. But the Lord thundered with a great thunder on that day upon the Philistines and discomfited them. That is, disoriented them, disorganized with thunder. And they went before Israel. You know, they didn't foresee that. They didn't envisage it. They didn't even understand that thunder is going to come and do something against them that day. Listen carefully, brethren. Jehovah, the man of war, can choose how he wants to fight his battle. He can choose. Do you know the one I showed you before for Joshua? That one, he used stones. Just use stone to crush people's skull, crush people's head, crush their bowl, pieces them with stones. Have I shown you the treasures of snow that I have reserved against the day of battle and war? So he can decide to use snow to fight. He can decide to use even fire. He can decide to use water like he did in the Red Sea. Decide to use any weapon. So here he thundered upon them that day and discomfited them, and they were smitten before Israel. Verse 11. And the men of Israel went out of Mizpeh, and they pursued the Philistines. These are the Philistines they were afraid of before. You know, when you see your God fight for you, your boldness will come back. When you see Jehovah fight for you, your strength, your courage will come back. Israel now turned to people that are pursuing the Philistines. Because the man of war has stepped in, you will pursue your enemies today. So they pursued them and smote them until they came under Bethka. Verse 12. Then Samuel took a stone and set it between Mizpeh and Shen and called the name of it Ebenezer, saying, hitherto had the Lord helped us. They thought the battle was finished. You know, that's what we don't know. We don't know how God fights his battle. Sometimes we might even pray this 2 hours prayer and we think that, well, that's it, the battle is finished. No. You might just pray your own prayer and go away. Jehovah, the man of war, will continue his battle. Even into the night when you are sleeping, even into tomorrow morning, he's still fighting for you. He will continue the battle until he has made an utter end. So Samuel now, they just saw that thunder finish, and then the people have pursued the Philistines and slaughtered them. Thought the battle was over. They thought it has finished. And they now started to sacrifice and thank God. And then call Ebenezer and so on. Verse 13. So the Philistines were subdued. And they came no more into the coast of Israel. They subdued them. These Philistines, they've learned their lesson. The one that survived or the one that escaped, the Bible said they did not come around Israel again. And the hand of the Lord was against the Philistines all the days of Samuel. That even when Israel was no longer fighting, Jehovah, the man of war, has not finished his own fight. He was still fighting against the Philistines throughout the time period of Samuel. So the Philistines will just discover that something suddenly fell upon them. Something disaster will just fall upon them, will wipe them out. And it's because the man of war has started and he will make an utter end. Look at verse 14. And the cities which the Philistines have taken from Israel were restored to Israel, from Ekron even unto Gath. Listen carefully, brethren. Do you know that everything the enemy collected from you this year, even before this year, do you know the Lord is going to recover everything for you? Every good thing the enemy did not allow you to enjoy, the Lord will fight for you and recover them for you. That is how he does it. And that's why he's a man of war. He's a man of war because of his children. He's a man of war because of his own people, his own elects. And he doesn't like to stay idle. He loves battle. He enjoys battle. And when he sees battle and you invite him to battle, oh, it gives him joy. And that's what we want to do now. That's what we want to do. So they recovered everything. They restored all the things that from Ekron even unto Gath. And the coast thereof did Israel deliver out of the hand of the Philistines. And there was peace between Israel and the Amorites. Amorites had to make peace by force. Why? Because they don't want what happened to the Philistines to happen to them. They don't want the man of war to visit them with thunder and with stone and with fire. Brethren, it is time. And we are going now into battle. Remember that this battle is when kings go to battle. And remember, brethren, I might not be able to give you all the prayer points, but you know yourself, you know which battle you want this man of war to fight for you. You know which battle you want to invite him into. You see, the battle of Joshua was totally different from the battle of Samuel. The battle of Joshua was against the other kings of Ekron, the other king Jericho, and so on. Ai. Their battle was different. The battle of Samuel was against the Philistines. So your own battle will be different from my own battle. But all of them, he enjoys battle. The man of war enjoys battle. He will come into all the battles. The only thing is, brethren, just make sure you get his attention. Just make sure you tell him which battle to fight for you. Just make sure that you describe the enemy you want him to fight against. So when you have done your part in prayers, leave the rest. You will see the result by yourself. Because the man of war is with us. He is our God. He is the God of Diadem. He is our leader. He is our redeemer. He is the God that fights for us. Let's close our eyes. Let's close our eyes. You see what Samuel did. First of all, took away every impediment out of the way. Every impediment. He said that the people confessed their sins. The people repented of their backsliding and their idolatry. And Samuel drew water and poured it out, and the people fasted. The people fasted. Were sorry, genuinely sorry. And Samuel now sacrificed for them. He shed a blood, a suckling lamb, innocent lamb, so as to take away their sin. And when they have settled that aspect, and there was nothing anymore accusing them before God, now they can cry unto God to come down, and immediately he had them. Brother, let's begin to repent. Let's begin to repent. If you know anything you have done, if you know anything in your life, if you are conscious of anything at all, if you are even unconscious of anything, that will be a barrier, be a hindrance, that will not allow Jehovah, the man of war, to hear your cry today. Begin to confess them now, brethren. Begin to confess them. Begin to confess them. And begin to tell the Lord, Father, this is who I am. Look at who I am, Lord. Look at what I have done. Look at what I have done. Look at what, and I am so sorry for doing that, my Father. I am deeply sorry.
Thank you for watching. If this message blessed you, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to join our growing community of faith. You've just listened to the sermon, but there are powerful prayers that follow. Due to social media rules and guidelines, the prayers have been removed from this video. However, you can access the full prayers and more life-changing resources by visiting www.pastorhillary.org or downloading our app, Diadem Media. If you're in the London area, we'd love to have you fellowship with us in person at 4 Pegamoid Road, N18 2NG. If you have any questions about this message, want counseling from Pastor Hillary, or wish to share your testimonies following the prayers, please leave a comment below and someone from our team will get in touch. Until next time, may God bless you abundantly and guide you in all your ways. Stay victorious.